Zarala of the Glittering Spiral had only been on the Galactic Exchange Station for 12 rotation cycles when she first saw the human. She wasn't technically supposed to be watching them. The station handbook said, avoid unnecessary contact with Category E sentients, and humans, as everyone knew, were listed under E for extreme environments, or more colloquially, Deathworlders. They came from a planet teeming with unstable ecosystems, apex predators, atmospheric disasters, and volcanic tantrums. And yet they thrived. Zarala, by contrast, came from Elixir Prime, a calm, aquatic world where confrontation was mostly avoided with diplomatic songs and assertive bioluminescence. So when she spotted the human walking confidently down the engineering concourse, helmet off, muscles coiled, and eyes scanning like a predator, her 3 hearts fluttered in synchronized alarm. She dove behind a vending module, clutching her datapad tightly. Then, from around the corner, a voice. "You good?" Zarala's frills went stiff. She peeked over the module. The human was standing there, staring at her with an expression she couldn't decode. Was it aggression? Amusement? Concern? "I'm not supposed to talk to you," Zarala blurted, wincing. "Wow, bae. That's the most honest thing I've heard all week." The human offered a hand. "Name's Taylor." "You." Zarala. Taylor didn't flinch at the gurgling pronunciation. "Nice to meet you, Zarala. You dropped your datapad." Zarala hesitated, then took it. Her tentacled fingers brushed Taylor's warm, calloused skin, and she recoiled slightly. "Oh, dry. So, alive." "I'm not scared of you," she lied. Taylor laughed. "That's usually the first sign that someone is." Chapter 2, Rule 2. Never feed the human. Their next meeting was a mistake. Zarala was headed to the mess hall after a long morning of planetary climate simulations when she heard the unmistakable clang of tools and a very loud human swearing. A conduit had burst in maintenance shaft 12C. Station personnel were still rerouting the power when Zarala peeked in, just out of curiosity, and saw Taylor covered in coolant, manually rerouting the flow with raw strength and improvised sealing paste. "Why are you doing that?" she asked. Taylor grinned through the mess. "Because the automated system failed, and everyone else ran for cover. But that paste isn't certified for human skin." "Yeah, I figured that out 5 minutes ago," they said, still smiling. After a pause, Zarala handed over a proper sealing patch from her kit. "You shouldn't be able to do this. It's outside your species' physiological tolerance." "Yeah, humans are weird like that. Want to grab lunch after this?" Zarala blinked. "You want to share nutrients? You mean food? Come on. I'll show you how to make a spicy burrito. It'll blow your mind." Figuratively. She wasn't supposed to eat with humans. Their food was infamous. Toxic spices. Fermented proteins. Things that sizzled before cooking. But she was curious. 3 hours and 2 fire extinguisher incidents later, Zarala was sprawled on the floor of the mess hall, gills flared open in shock, tongue numb and eyes dilated. "That was delicious," she wheezed. Taylor just grinned. Chapter 3, Rule 3. Don't get attached. They became friends. Zarala told herself it was observational, anthropological. She was studying human behavior, which was erratic, illogical, and somehow endearing. They met weekly, sometimes to fix broken systems. Taylor insisted on using elbow grease, though Zarala had no idea where the grease came from. Other times they traded stories about their homeworlds. Zarala learned that Taylor's planet had enormous feathered reptiles once called chickens, and now they were food. Taylor learned that Zarala's people communicated underwater through synchronized dance patterns and pheromones. Must make dating weird, Taylor joked. Zarala tilted her head. You dance with one another, yes? Taylor choked on their drink. Not like that. But the teasing turned to genuine warmth. Zarala began to notice the subtle shifts in Taylor's scent, how it changed when they were anxious or excited. Taylor learned to read the tilt of Zarala's fins and the light pulses of her skin. They were two very different species, from wildly incompatible worlds. But they laughed together. Blah. And then came the mission. Chapter 4. Rule 4. Never go on a field mission with a Deathworlder. Zarala's department was assigned to study atmospheric anomalies on a Class D planet. The readings suggested possible terraforming gone wrong, acidic fog, magnetic storms, collapsing tectonics. Naturally, Taylor volunteered to assist. Zarala protested. You don't have to go. Sure I do, they said, packing gear. You're gonna need someone who can walk through hell without melting. You're not invincible. Taylor winked. You're starting to sound like you care. She didn't answer, but her fins rippled with an uncertain shimmer. The drop onto the planet was uneventful, until the third day, when a rogue quake collapsed the outpost's entrance tunnel. Zarala and Taylor were trapped underground. Emergency beacons still online, Taylor said, scanning the rubble. We've got 24 hours of oxygen. More if we stay calm. Zarala was not calm. This is exactly the kind of situation that proves Deathworlders are recklessly durable, she hissed. This entire cavern could collapse. Taylor sat beside her, brushing dust off their suit. Zarala, we'll be fine. You don't know that. Sure I do. Because I'm not leaving you behind. And you're too stubborn to give up. She didn't reply for a long moment. Then softly, you're my friend. Taylor's voice was quiet. Yeah. You're mine too. They sat in the dark together, hearts pounding, waiting for rescue. Chapter 5. Rule 5. When the human nearly dies, don't panic. The rescue team arrived 10 hours later. Taylor had started coughing just a little, then more. Some chemical in the air, something their filters couldn't block. They were still conscious when the medics pulled them out. Barely. Zarala rode in the evac ship, holding Taylor's hand the whole way, singing soft harmonics of comfort. You'll be okay, she whispered. You always are. Taylor's eyes fluttered open briefly. Hey, they rasped. Didn't think you'd cry over me. I'm not crying, she lied again. Back on the station, Taylor was stabilized. But the incident had consequences. Zarala's superior confronted her. You violated protocol. You engaged socially with a Deathworlder. You endangered your department. I saved their life. You compromised objectivity. Zarala's frills flared. Then perhaps the objective thing is to admit that the classifications are wrong, that humans aren't monsters, that they can be our friends. There was silence, then grudging approval. You're off field duty. But your report on interspecies collaboration was very compelling. She bowed her head, heart aching. Chapter 6. Rule 6. Goodbye isn't always forever. Taylor left a week later, reassigned to another station on the edge of the Perseid expanse. More action, they said. More stuff to punch. Zarala came to the dock to say goodbye. I brought you something, she said, holding out a canister. It's a nutrient slurry. From my home colony. You probably won't like it. Taylor took it anyway. Still better than station cafeteria meatloaf.